Did you know there are certain debts you may never have to pay again? For many older adults, this truth comes as both a shock and a relief. You may have spent years faithfully sending money to collectors, thinking you had no choice, when in fact the law may say otherwise. Across the country, thousands of seniors are still handing over their limited retirement income to cover debts that no longer have any legal weight. And here's the troubling part, many collectors know this but still pressure people, hoping fear will outweigh knowledge. In today's video, we're going to uncover 6 specific types of debts that lawyers warn seniors should stop paying. These are debts where the law is on your side, no matter what a collector says on the phone. We'll explain why these debts lose their power, how they trap so many older adults, and what you can do if you're being harassed about them. Each point will give you confidence, replacing fear with knowledge, and worry with control. So, if you've been losing sleep over debt eating away at your retirement, take a deep breath. The truths you're about to hear may change the way you handle debt forever. Let's begin with the first one, old medical bills beyond collection. For many seniors, medical bills pile up over the years. Maybe it was from a surgery, a hospital stay, or an unexpected emergency visit. Each new letter or phone call can feel like pressure, making you believe you have no escape. But here's something most people don't realize, medical debt has an expiration date. Every state sets a statute of limitations, which is the time limit a hospital, clinic, or debt collector has to sue for payment. In some states, it might be 3 years. In others, it could be 6. But once that time limit passes, the debt loses its legal power. Now, collectors might still keep calling, but you need to know, you are no longer legally obligated to pay. And here's another fact that surprises many seniors, by federal law, your Social Security benefits are protected from most creditors. That means hospitals and debt collectors cannot touch that money, no matter what they threaten. Just knowing this can lift a huge weight off your shoulders because it separates real law from scare tactics. Take the story of Margaret, a 74-year-old widow. For nearly 10 years, she sent hundreds of dollars each month toward an old hospital bill. She truly believed she had no choice. But when a legal aid attorney explained that her state statute of limitations had expired long ago, Margaret realized she could have saved all that money for her medications and daily needs. One piece of knowledge completely changed her life. So, if you're still getting calls about very old hospital or doctor bills, pause before sending another payment. Ask yourself, how old is this debt? Has the time limit already passed? If it has, you may already be free. Remember, this isn't about avoiding responsibility, it's about protecting yourself, your income, and your dignity. Rights exist to protect seniors who have already given so much. And once you understand these protections clearly, you'll realize not every bill in your mailbox deserves your money. Number 2, old credit card debt that's time-barred. For many older adults, credit cards once felt like a lifeline during difficult times. But even after the cards are cut up, the balances sometimes linger for years. What many people don't know is that credit card debt, just like medical bills, has a statute of limitations. Once that time limit expires, lenders lose their legal power to sue you for repayment. Now, collectors may still send letters or make threatening phone calls, but those calls rely on fear, not law. If the statute of limitations has already passed, the debt becomes what lawyers call time-barred. And that means you are not legally required to pay it. Here's the trap many seniors fall into, accidentally restarting the clock. In many states, even making a small payment or admitting over the phone that the debt is yours can reset the statute of limitations, giving collectors a fresh chance to sue. That's why it's so important not to rush or agree to anything under pressure. Take your time, verify the age of the debt, and always know your rights. Consider Robert, a 78-year-old retired bus driver. For years, collection agencies harassed him over a credit card he had stopped using more than 15 years earlier. They demanded thousands of dollars, even threatening lawsuits and wage garnishment. But when Robert spoke with a legal aid clinic, he discovered that under his state's law, the debt had already expired. He stopped paying, the calls eventually ended, and his Social Security remained untouched. That one piece of knowledge gave him back his peace of mind and his sense of control. So, if you're dealing with old credit card bills, remember this: time can be on your side. Creditors may have had years to take action, but if they fail to do so within the legal window, their power is gone. You don't need to live in fear of every ring of the phone. The law often protects you far more than collectors want you to believe. If you found this point helpful, comment number 2 below so I know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires seniors like you. Now, let's move forward. Number 3, certain private student loans. Many people assume that student loans follow you for life and even beyond, but the truth is more complicated. Federal student loans have strict rules and can be very hard to escape. But private student loans are different. Just like credit card and medical debt, some private student loans can actually expire under the statute of limitations. That means if you, or even your children, took out private student loans years ago and those loans have been in default for a long time, lenders may no longer have the legal power to sue for repayment. They may still call or send letters, hoping to scare you into paying, but if enough time has passed, the law is often on your side. There's another point many families don't realize: what happens upon death. Federal student loans are typically discharged when the borrower passes away, meaning surviving family members are not responsible. With private loans, the rules can vary, but often lenders cannot pursue payment once the original borrower is gone. Knowing these facts can protect both you and your loved ones from unnecessary stress and fear. Federal student loans are typically discharged when the borrower passes away. And in many cases, private student loans also cannot be collected from surviving spouses or children unless they co-signed the loan. Seniors often carry a heavy worry that their children or grandchildren will be left with the burden, but in reality, unless family members are legally tied to the loan, the responsibility usually ends with the borrower. Just knowing this can remove years of unnecessary guilt and stress. Take Linda's story, an 82-year-old grandmother who spent years scraping together money to pay on an old private student loan. She had borrowed it decades ago for a teaching certificate she never even used. Linda feared that if she stopped paying, her grandchildren would inherit the debt. But after speaking with a nonprofit attorney, she learned two important truths: the statute of limitations on her loan had already passed, and even if it hadn't, her grandchildren could never be forced to pay. That single realization gave her the freedom to finally let go and focus her limited income on daily needs. For many seniors, the fear of leaving behind debt is heavier than the debt itself. By understanding that certain private student loans can expire, and that most do not transfer to family members, you can stop living under the shadow of a bill that has no real power over your future. The relief of knowing you can legally walk away is more than financial, it's emotional freedom, too. Number 4. Certain personal loans from friends or family. Among the hardest debts for seniors to carry are personal loans, borrowed long ago from a neighbor, a cousin, or a close friend. These debts often live in memory more than on paper, and the guilt of not repaying can linger for decades. But here's the truth: if these personal loans were never formalized in writing, or if they have aged far beyond the statute of limitations, they no longer have legal standing. No one can take you to court or legally force repayment of a handshake loan from years past. The real struggle in these cases isn't collectors, it's conscience. Seniors replay conversations from decades ago, burdened with shame over debts that legally and practically no longer exist. But life happens. Illness, job loss, and family struggles take their toll. If a loan was never pursued formally, and the legal time limit has long passed, the law considers it closed. Holding on to guilt only drains the peace you deserve in your later years. Think about Helen, an 81-year-old woman who still worried about $50 she had borrowed from a church friend back in the 1970s. That friend had since passed away, yet Helen still carried the weight of that memory as if she had failed. One day, her daughter gently explained that the debt was not only uncollectible but also meaningless after all these years. Helen cried with relief. She realized she had been carrying an unnecessary burden for over 40 years. As seniors, we must remember that forgiveness applies to ourselves, too. Carrying invisible chains of old, unenforceable debts only diminishes the joy of the years we have left. Let the law and time close the book for you. You've already given so much, your peace of mind should not be sacrificed for debts that no longer exist. Families and communities depend on you, but you also have the right to lay down the weight of debts that no longer exist. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below so I know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It helps us continue creating meaningful content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Number 5. Expired medical debts. Medical bills are some of the most frightening pieces of mail to open. For many older adults, a single hospital stay or unexpected procedure years ago left behind stacks of unpaid balances that never felt possible to catch up on. But here's what many seniors don't realize: medical bills, just like credit cards and personal loans, also have a statute of limitations. After a certain number of years, depending on your state, those old balances cannot be enforced in court. Hospitals often sell these unpaid accounts to third-party collectors, who then call with urgency, warning you of terrible consequences if you don't pay right away. Their words can stir up guilt and fear, especially for people raised to believe every bill must be paid no matter what. But the reality is this: once a medical debt has expired, it becomes legally uncollectible. Collectors cannot garnish your Social Security check. They cannot take your home. And in most cases, hospitals cannot deny you future care because of debts from decades past. Take Margaret, an 82-year-old widow who received a frightening notice about a hospital bill from 1998. It demanded thousands of dollars she didn't have. Terrified, she thought she would lose everything. But after one phone call with a senior legal counselor, she learned the debt had been unenforceable for years. That single moment gave her back her sleep and freed her from a burden she thought would follow her forever. The truth is, seniors should be protecting their present health, not punishing themselves for medical costs that the law has already closed the book on. Knowing your rights doesn't just save money, it restores dignity. You worked too hard for your security to let expired debts take it away. Number 6. Utility bills after death. Another worry many seniors carry is what happens to their unpaid utility bills, electricity, gas, or water, after they pass away. Collectors may even suggest that the responsibility will fall to children or spouses. But the truth is this: once the account holder dies, unpaid utility bills do not automatically transfer to surviving family members, unless their names were also on the account. Utilities may close the account, but they cannot chase children or spouses for money that was never theirs to begin with. This is where fear and confusion often creep in. Families who are grieving may receive letters or phone calls implying they must pay to protect their credit or avoid service shutoffs. But here's the fact: a son or daughter is not responsible for mom's electric bill unless they voluntarily take over the account. And even then, they are only responsible moving forward, not for what was left behind. Think about Robert, a 79-year-old who spent his final years worrying that his daughter would inherit his unpaid utility bills. He sacrificed comforts, living in fear of leaving her with a burden. But after speaking with an advisor, he learned the truth: once he passed, his daughter would not owe a penny for those bills. That knowledge allowed Robert to spend his last years in peace, knowing love, not debt, was the only thing he would leave behind. Robert once worried that his children would be stuck with his overdue water bill. But after speaking with a local attorney, he discovered the truth: his family could simply notify the utility company of his passing, and the account would be closed without transferring the old balance. That knowledge lifted a huge burden. Instead of living with fear, Robert spent his final years focusing on what mattered most: making memories with his grandchildren. For seniors living on fixed incomes, this is an important reminder: Yes, services like electricity, gas, or water may be cut off if payments stop, but the debts themselves end with you. No collector has the right to bind your children or loved ones to what was yours alone. Let go of that worry. It is not yours to carry into the future. If you're still with us and finding these insights valuable, please comment, number 6, below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and turn on the bell, so you don't miss future videos. Your support helps us continue creating meaningful content to inform and inspire seniors like you. Now, let's move toward our final thoughts. Growing older already brings enough challenges. The last thing you need is the weight of debts you are not legally required to pay. From expired medical bills, to old credit card balances, to private student loans that do not pass on to family, the law gives seniors far more protection than many realize. Yet too often, older men and women continue to suffer silently, sending money to collectors who have no true claim, or lying awake at night worrying about obligations that no longer exist. Here's the most important truth: you have rights. And once you understand them, you can free yourself from years of unnecessary stress. But this is not just about the law, it's about emotional freedom, too. Too many seniors sacrifice their health, their food, or even their medicine, all to pay debts that cannot be enforced. That is not the way your later years are meant to be lived. These years should be about peace, dignity, and time with the people you love. By knowing which debts you are not required to pay, you can breathe easier, reclaim your independence, and make more space for what truly matters: your health, your relationships, and the simple joys of daily life. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned from this video, and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts matter to us, and reading your comments gives us motivation and encouragement. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content that informs and inspires seniors everywhere. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.